Right now, if I play the game, you can see when I jump, I can actually, when I jump and press my crouch button at the same time, you can see I can spam it here when I jump and I keep crouching, and the camera is clipping like that. You can have it as a mechanic if you want for your game. Some people like stuff like this. For example, you can jump, you can try to do some crouching, and you can look over the wall like that. Maybe it could be a mechanic. However, I think it's a bit too much, and I don't really want this mechanic here. So when I jump, it clips like that if I keep crouching. So to fix this, let's go back to the player. Go to the player, player base, and inside of here, let's go down to the crouch logic. So this one here. So here in the crouch logic, I want to make sure that the player is not jumping. So you can't crouch when you are jumping. So if we take this one, remember we already made this function is not jumping. And the only thing we did here is just take the character movement component and ask if the character is falling or not. And if the player is not falling, it means they are not in the air, which means they are not jumping. Okay, so we can take this and we can make a branch and we can ask if the player is not jumping, then we are able to crouch. There is a slight problem right now. If we jump and I press on crouch, you can see I can only crouch on the ground. However, if I jump and I click crouch, when I land, I don't crouch. So I need to actually crouch whenever I jump and click on crouch. It should auto crouch when I land, and we need to fix this here. So I'm going to drag from this and delay the code by something really, really small. So maybe 0.05. And after the delay, we can go back and play this code again. So what this is doing is simply if you are in the jump, you can't crouch, then it will be false. Then it will go ahead and delay the code and it will go back and ask again if you're jumping or not. So it keeps checking if you are jumping or not. And when you land on the ground and you still have the crouch button pressed, it will actually go ahead and crouch. So you can try it out, see if it works or something bugs. So if you can jump here, hold crouch, and you can see it auto crouch when I land. So it actually works. Now, if you put this too high, it will seem a bit laggy because when you jump, it takes a bit of time before you crouch. You can make it a lot better to crouch here. If you make it a lot lower, the response time will be a lot higher. So if you jump and click on crouch, you can see it crouch immediately. I don't like to put it way too much down because remember, the further down you put this, the more times this code is going to run. So it's going to run this many times per second, trying to check if you're jumping or not. So for this one, I'm just going to put it to 0.05 instead. And to check how many times this runs, you can always take this browser and say 1 divided by 0.05. And then you can see this code right now runs 20 times a second. And you can see it does run a lot of times. If you put it to 0.01, then it runs 100 times a second. I don't like it to put it way too low. 0.05 is a good number. So let's close this. Okay, so that now this is working. Now the problem is here for the uncrouch, it's actually going to run the uncrouch code even though I'm not crouching anymore. So you can see if I drag here and say print string, and I just print a simple message to the screen to see if this code is running or not. Compile, let's click on play. You can see if I jump and hold crouch and I let go, so when I land, it's actually going to uncrouch. I jump, I crouch and let go. It's going to run the uncrouch code even though I don't really need to because I haven't crouched yet. So to do this, to fix it, we can take the movement state and we can drag from it and we can say contains item. So if it does contain the item crouching, then we want to go ahead and uncrouch when we let go of the button. So let's drag here, actually just drag it down here and let us make a branch and let us connect it just like that. Okay, so I organized this a little bit. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're asking if we are in the jump or not. And if we are not in the jump, we can go ahead and crouch if we're on the ground. However, if we are in the jump in the air, it's going to keep rechecking how whenever we land. And when we land, it's going to go through this code. And then it's going to ask Did you let go of the button or did you press the button? If you press the button, you are going to crouch automatically if you're still pressing the crouch button. If you have let go of the button, it's first going to check if you're actually crouching, if this movement state array does contain the crouching element. And if it doesn't, then don't do anything because we're not crouching. It doesn't make any sense to run this code. However, if it does contain the crouching and you let go of the button, it's going to uncrouch. So let's try to play it now, and let us jump and click crouch, and that helps. If I jump and click crouch and let go, you can see the code is not running anymore and it is fully optimized. So let's compile. Now everything is working here. And when I jump and spam my crouch button, it's not going to work, only when I land here. So in the air, I can't spam my crouch button.